I can hear you.
Brian, you can hear us?
Yeah. Yeah, so we should...
All right, I won't talk about their decks anymore. So how about this? So I'll talk about Brian a little bit. I've met him. I've played him at a few events in the U.S. He's also has a number of strong finishes on his resume. He went through a real heater last year, and maybe even the beginning of this year too with shops. I feel like he won a couple of online events. He might have won the. Hey Jordan.
Hey guys.
He may have actually won the Music City, the Bootleggers Ball in Music City. I feel like he didn't just put up good results. He won 2 or 3 events with shops last year. He also was the one who won the singleton at Chalice, which I just talked about on All Things Considered last week with the blue-black singleton deck. So he's an aficionado of artifacts in general. I'm not sure what he's on today. I haven't actually checked. But we're going to find out sooner rather than later. Jordan, can you hear us right now?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure what's going on tech-wise right now, so if you're viewing at home, bear with us. We're still kind of figure out how this is all working, obviously, because we're relatively new to this, and I don't want to give away any information and talk about any decks or anything while they're in the room. So.
Round 1 feature match, no pressure, huh?
No pressure. Well, you brought it upon yourself with all, so you deserve it.
Are you there, Brian?
He is not in the room right now. I'm going to look and see what he's playing right now.
So, I guess that we will mute ourselves in this chat room. Simply click on the mic and then meet up in the Discord.
Brian, my friend, how are you?
All right, doing that right now.
No.
Sorry, my camera's like acting up. Let me switch to my table.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you, Jordan?
Okay, good.
It seems like I was playing.
Oh, we should mute them too. Hold on, let me mute them.
All good? Fine.
Yeah,
something like that.
Chalice. A couple of online ones recently, I think. Yeah.
Let me rejoin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I've have everybody muted, and
we should still be able to hear each other, and you can see them play. So now we're ready.
All right, I can see. Why can't I see?
Yeah, right now he's not in the stream, so.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. I can only see Jordan. We have to wait for Brian to join.
Yeah, he had some problems with the camera, I think. So.
Okay, we'll give him a minute or two to set up. Again, sorry guys. Like I said, we're new to this. We're not professional streamers. Like this is a pretty big endeavor to take on. It's all just done. We're all just pouring in our own time and energy, and for the goodness of the community, and because we enjoy doing it. No one's making a dime off this, honestly.
Hang on, sorry. You can hear me though, right, Jordan? Okay. Give me a minute. I don't know. I'm gonna reboot my browser.
All right. Oh, he just left the room again. Svante, can you hear me? Are you in this are you in the streaming spot? You can hear me?
Yeah, he should be able to hear us.
I cannot hear him. Yeah. I don't know if he's answering me.
Okay, cool. You see me now, right?
Wait, should we be in the whereby, Simon, or should we drop out of the whereby? We should be in it, right?
Yeah, you should be in it. The two commentators are always in that room.
Yep.
How's that? I have it set up. I got my life totals and all that like up here somewhere. And you can in the middle. Yeah, I'm in SoCal. I'm in Anaheim.
I'm gonna just tell them not to start yet, okay?
Yeah.
How do I mute myself? Here we go. Hey guys, just so you know, we're still working on a couple of technical things. Don't quite start the match yet, okay? You guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you hear me. Okay, got it.
Perfect.
All right, so everything's perfect except for Svante's mic is apparently not working in the Discord right now.
Yeah. And Svante, you're supposed to be in the room, or else you can't see them. Or of course you can see them through the Discord, but
yeah, he's posting in the Discord now. He's having some issues with his mic in the Discord. So
okay, now nothing
reason,
works. Yeah.
He tried to join the commentary stream in here, and it doesn't seem to be working for him. Right, he's messing with it right now. Bear with us again, everyone at home. You know,
Yeah.
We're figuring this all out as we go. We promise we'll figure this out. We'll tighten it up, and as the beers start flowing, it'll become sloppier anyway. No one will care more anyway. So, but for now, it's freaking 10 a.m. on the East Coast, and I haven't cracked a beer yet. So give us some time to get properly sloppy. So maybe, all right, so they're almost done.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe we might have to audible and have you and I do this round while Svante
Can you hear
tries
me?
to figure out. Okay.
Okay, yeah, now we
I
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, you're here.
Yeah, okay, I'll figure this out. I'm probably doing it without cam for this round, and then I figure the setup out for next round. Is that okay? Because I can watch.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about Cam. That's obviously. I think we're just little heads in the corner anyway. We're not on there very much, so it's not very important. But you do need to be in the whereby room to see the actual match, right?
No, I can watch that on. I watch that on Twitch on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, you're actually watching the stream. Oh god.
Okay, on Twitch then you're behind.
Yeah, one of us is
there's a
gonna be
lag
on
for
a
that?
lag. Is the issue with you joining with Whereby and the Discord at the same time? It's like, it's not working with your mic.
Right, exactly. I mean, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that if I listen instead. Yes. The problem is that my mic gets turned off. I could obviously do that with not the headset and everything, but I don't want to risk that right now. But I will try that the next time.
Yeah.
Check out what Dave is messaging you right now. He says you can watch Simon.
I know. I am doing that, and that is zero lag then. So
yeah.
Then we can
Okay,
do it.
perfect. All right, so are we good to go ish?
Yeah.
Simon, we have the video ready, and you can hear both me and Svante.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell those guys that they can go. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Jordan, Brian, you guys, we're all set up. We're ready to go. You guys can start whenever. Okay. Good luck, guys. All right, I'm muted. So, the short story is here. These are both big-time players in the old school community. They both have a number of feathers in their cap. We can talk about their decks now. Jordan is on his traditional blue-white deck of Savannah Alliance plus Flying Man plus Serendib plus Swords and Disenchants and various power. I don't think he splashes other than for Demonic Tutor and Mind Twist, the traditional black splash in old school. Brian is on a shops list. It's slightly, not exactly textbook shops because he's playing 4 main deck Aleo piles, which is very rare. Like sometimes you see 1 or 2 in a list or maybe more in the board, but seeing 4 main deck almost never happens. He also has a couple of main deck Sage of Latnams. Other than that, his traditional shops with 4 shops, 4 Trikes, 4 Suchis, 4 Ices, 4 copies, 3 Tetravises, the power restricted cards, and his somewhat unique main deck cards are 1 Candelabra, 1 which is very unique and almost never seen, 1 Winter Orb, and 1 City in a Bottle, which is a lot more popular and more common in these lists. So, but it's a fairly common matchup: Lion Dib decks versus Shops decks. Svante, who do you think has the edge just in a vacuum? Lion Dib versus Shops, period.
I think Shops has all the tools to punish, blind dib if they playing like City in a Bottle, as you mentioned earlier, and Abyss in the main. Also like ISIS to lock down the dibs and everything like that. And then like the smaller guys are trumped by Triskelion. This is all pre-board, of course. So I definitely think Shops has quite a huge edge pre-board. And then it sort of depends on how much of a board the blind dib deck has, because it can have so much in the way of both white removal and energy flux if they really want. So I think it depends a lot on that. What do you think?
It does. So I'm looking at Jordan's deck right now. I think you're right. Game 1 is going to be an uphill battle because he has the 8 X1s that just get destroyed by Trike. And in addition to playing against main deck City in a Bottle, thankfully he has no, or for him, for Boyle, Urbano has no main deck Abysses. So that's something. And in the side, we'll get to the sideboard after round 1, but let's see what we're off to here. So Boyle leads Underground into Flying Man, traditional start, and Bryan says Underground Go, one of the weaker starts.
He mulliganed once. Was that correct?
I think it was just one mulligan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like what
Or go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was saying that the thing about Shops is that you really, really want to have some kind of early play. So you probably mulligan for something to do on turn 1 if you can. But then, like, of course, once you start mulliganing, you might have to keep something that is slower and not so explosive. But like the point of the deck is playing a threat really fast. Just the turn 2 threat is not optimal most of the time. Yeah, but then again, like his list is a little bit off, a little bit less usual in a way, in that it's Eolipal, as we see here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good trade for Jordan, right? He's going to tap out on turn 3 to kill his 1/1 Flying Man that he's already dealt damage with. That's kind of the dream for Jordan. I think that's what I was going to say regarding Shops. There's a lot of Shops players. I've only played it. You and I have each only played Shops in, I think, 1 tournament. And one of the kind of adages in Shops is you aggressively mulligan to kind of a broken opening start, even if it's just one play, even if it's just like, you know, a turn 2 Suchi or something. You kind of have to go for something like that rather than keeping Island, Factory, Underground, Suchi, Mana Drain, you know, like things like that.
I agree, yeah.
And it looks like that's kind of he basically did that, and he probably kept a hand with a turn 3 or turn 4 threat via the shot, maybe hoping for a Mox or something to be able to play 6 drops on turn 3. But it looks like this is a pretty good start for Jordan with
well, he's missing land drops and doesn't do very much, which is, I think, like the late game very much favors the Shops deck, because all of his threats are bigger and Jordan is playing 8 1-drops. He really wants to play something else. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is a weird hand for Jordan, right? Like he tapped out to play that Soul Ring and didn't have a dib, and so now he doesn't have Counterspell up.
Yeah, like he had two lands, Counterspell, and Flying Man. Then no more mana. Like no artifact mana at all. No more threats. What is his hand? It must have been full of white removal in a way or something.
Right, he had the 1 Flying Man as a threat and then white removal. He also plays 2 main deck control magics, which is not commonly seen. It's a card that I just love more than maybe anyone on earth, and I think that's maybe one of the ways that he can get a leg up in this game 1. If
that's true.
If Bryan plays a non-trike creature that he gets to control, like if he can control this Suchi, that's really big game right now.
It is. Bryan can't have that many cards left.
No, it feels like he's probably on 1 or 2 cards because he has all this mana in play.
It's true.
It's funny, the swings, right? It looked like Jordan was way ahead. Then, like you said, he missed land drops. Like he had his Flying Man and he countered the 6-drop. Then he started missing land drops and it looked like Bryan was ahead. But now Bryan's kind of flooding and Jordan has mana.
There we have it.
We just talked about, which you could almost smell. Right? That's why I said it. You could just smell that he kind of kept that. And this could honestly just be game. Control magic on a Suchi, that's probably just game, I feel like. Because his hand, like you said, he has 4 or 5 cards left. It's tons of white removal.
True. He doesn't have a copy artifact, because then he would have cast it last turn because he had the mana for that as well, which is otherwise something he could have had.
Does trading a control magic.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Time Twister is always exciting.
It's really, really good for Bryan because he was out of gas, and Jordan I guarantee Jordan had a swords in there that he couldn't do anything with, and a handful of reactive spells that now we get to even out. And now I think like Jordan was pretty far ahead. Bryan is totally even things out at this point because he has a full grip of mana to cast whatever 6-drop he draws off of this thing.
Yep.
Let's see here.
Like
That
anything
is-
can happen now, right? There's the
That is a control magic. I think he won that control magic at the Quest for Urza's Chalice last year. That might have been his prize for winning Singleton. I feel like I can't tell, but it is stamped with a I think it's a chalice emblem on it. That's another thing in old school. People, there's a lot of graffitiing of cards, a lot of clubs stamp cards that they give away for prizes and things of that nature. So you'll see lots of cards with stamps all over them, and lots of valuable cards that have been graffitied up and stamped up. You'll see people with libraries and Juzams and like literal $1,000 cards that have been, destroyed is not the right word, but improved.
for sure.
All right, let's see what Bryan has. I'm sure he has at the very least. Okay, so 1 6-drop.
I'll play Tetris.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
Tetris.
Let's see here. I'm gonna look at his deck, trying to figure out why he would tap that way.
Okay.
Not that it really matters. He there's nothing he can cast anyway, so it's irrelevant. But
Oh, it's a time walk. That's like the perfect thing to draw, right? Time
he
walk
played a
on
land. He played land time walk. Oh wow. Oh no, he switched. He switched.
I
his
played
mana.
Mox. Yeah. He
No, I'm like,
just-
why did he leave? Why did he leave Mox and Factory
Right.
up and tap all his blue mana? But that makes more sense. Another thing in old school, nobody gives a shit if you have to retap your lands or do a mild take back or change something or whatever. It's totally fine. We're all friends here. No one's trying to rules lawyer anybody.
Sure.
So he removed the guys and attacked for 1. Removing the guy is very smart, obviously, because while Jordan is mostly tapped out, he can't disenchant. He can only swords that thing. So now it's going to be a real problem for Jordan.
Yeah, those 1/1s are so good against all of Jordan's deck, basically.
Exactly.
Here we see an Icy as well.
Tap 2 more, blue and a red.
Keeping that
There's a copy.
Suchi at bay.
Oh, Mao, the old Sage of Latnan, sack my Chetravite tokens play.
Oh, the value.
But yeah, exactly.
So blue and the colorless here.
It's funny, the swings in old school are, and we didn't even play, like no one's played a powerful restricted card. I guess Bryan played Time Twister, and that's
And
what's-
Twister into Time Walk is sort of that, I would
He
say.
kind of, no, you're right. Those cards led to all of this, but he was basically down and out. He had 1, maybe 2 cards left in his hand, and that one Time Twister did all this. And it's just been so swingy. If we were watching the traditional Pro Tour advantage bar, it would be swinging all over the place, and it's way in Bryan's favor at this point.
Let's demonstrate those shops is
And I will
doing powerful things.
he's got-
Disenchanting the Icy. Okay.
I think what the hell else is he going to disenchant, right? He really needs to swords that Sage of Latnam, or this game is just over, though.
I think
He
this
can't-
game is over in many ways already.
I think it's over at, yeah, you're right. I think the only chance would be if he swords that Sage, maybe has, not any 1/1s in his hand.
I mean, and something like balance and whatever. This is still old
Right,
school.
right.
You can still do things, but
All right,
just
Serendib
casting a
block.
dib here is not gonna get there.
It does block literally everything on Bryan's board, so it's sort of a decent wall here. It's okay. It's nothing special.
I guess, but
Like Bryan can't attack with any of his creatures, right? Unless he wants to just like plow through, and start trading.
having a million mana and drawing basically 2 cards a turn.
Yeah. I think that's the play here with Sage.
Okay.
Okay, but
Well-
Ancestral Out of Jordan is clearly step 1, right?
Does that mean Bryan is passing here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead, go. He played land go. He's going to do your plan. Although he should have sacked his Tetravite on his turn, right?
I think it should, yeah. Just, I mean,
Slightly.
sure, you can fizzle a removal spell with a Sage, but when you have so many artifacts, it doesn't really matter anymore. You can just draw and try to play something instead.
Right.
I would have done that.
I would have done it on my turn. Hopefully drawn a threat and played it. And like you said, sure, okay, so Jordan gets to kill one thing, but like, he has so many artifacts, like you said.
Right.
I'll block with
Okay.
one token.
Dib comes in. 2 tokens block, I guess.
I think it's just going to do block sack, right?
No, I think 2 tokens and then sack the Oli pile as well.
Is that what he did? I don't think that's what he did.
Oh, he just blocked one draw.
That does seem like a little bit of a better play.
Now we see his swords on
So
the
now he's
sage.
swording sage. It has to be the sage.
You always have to kill the sage.
Yeah, like that's something that might sound counterintuitive. Like, you know, I guess now because the Tetravites are only 1/1, you're not going to swords them. But even if he had a Suchi and a Trike and whatever other theoretically more powerful cards out now, you still have to swords the sage. You cannot beat that card in the long run. There's just no way to fight through all that card advantage.
So why don't you like blocking with 2 tokens or maybe
No, I
3
think I do.
tokens?
I do like blocking with 2 with the pile in play.
Just that if the dib is dead.
I guess maybe it's probably 3 tokens to play around a removal, but again, it just doesn't matter as much, right? Like
If you would block with 2, then you have to spend a removal, spend a 1 on them, and then you sack that, and then you have 1 token left for next turn.
That's also
doing
pretty much fine, though. You know, you're kind of fine with that.
I
I guess
so.
you'd rather. I think you'd rather just do that and not worry about killing a free token off with the dib, right?
Yes,
I think it's just
I got it.
tokens.
Probably.
And so this, I mean, again, this is swingy. Now I almost feel like Bryan or Jordan's in the driver's seat. This is so
I
weird.
think so.
I mean, not driver's seat.
11, I think.
Mildly favored. You know, driver's seat is probably the wrong word, but he's mildly favored. The factory's a good start. The strip for the, I mean, Bryan has 3 factories out that normally would be doing a ton of work. That Suchi is just doing actual God's work at this point.
It is, that's true. This feels like
Who do you
Jordan's
think
not winning this race either.
Gun to your head right now. Gun to your head. Who's winning this game?
Bryan.
Swing with the Suchi.
I actually think Jordan. This feels like a weird attack, right? Like, I mean, can't one of those factories become a 5/5? Is he gonna just?
Well, he has to strip mine now.
Oh yeah, he has a strip mine. Yeah, okay.
But Bryan
I'm
can
sure
play.
he-
Did you play
he's
1
under-
factory this turn?
I think he played a factory, but still,
I think you block with 2 factories.
block with the 2/3/3 factories. He strips 1. You can pump the one that he doesn't strip, make it a 4/4 and trade. I guess. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, this is again another card. Like Mishra's Factory is absolutely ubiquitous in old school. It pretty much dominates every matchup. So many games come down to factory tricks and factory racing and drawing more factories than your opponent and things of that nature. And this is a perfect example of all of that. Bryan has factory advantage. There's a lot of various. So I think he's going to make the play that you just said. Looks like he's going to animate both. Try to double block. If you're Jordan here, you don't strip now, right? Because then you can still make a 5/5. You have to just let him double block.
Yep, they're activated.
Then pump, strip 1, and then you get to trade Suchi, and you get to trade control magic for Suchi and factory.
With just the 1.
Pretty good do.
Does he only block with 1 here, as opposed to Winter Factory forward?
I guess he might be.
Okay, doesn't I think.
I will.
So this is a little bit of a tough spot. He's just got to pass priority here, right?
Okay.
If he strips now, it's real bad.
Happy with that as it stands. Are you pumping it?
Yep.
You want to move the damage?
Yeah.
Which I think he realizes this. Like Jordan, he's been around the block in old school, like we said. He knows all of these tricks. So maybe he has another removal spell or something. He probably does.
Tap the one you stripped and pump the other one.
I think this is pumped.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has a removal spell for it, so he's
That
just
was
going
pumped anyway, right? There's no reason to do it. Well, I mean, when... Oh, Psionic Blast, okay.
So if his removal spell is Psionic Blast, then it makes a little more sense. I don't know. You're right. It's the same thing. So, but either way, all right, strip and side blast for. But look at those. Look at the powerful cards that Factories just fought through. You know?
Yeah, that's the problem here, right?
I still like Jordan's position. Factory parity now. Dib plus Suchi versus 3-1.
Not the worst now.
No, I think I'm good.
That's why I liked it before, because he clearly had a full grip of stuff, and Bryan again, you know, kind of puked all of his Time Twister cards onto the table and was out of gas.
It's hard to see how many cards Jordan actually has.
I mean, he's got to still have it. It looks probably 3.8 cards, something like that.
Problem is that he's probably on 9 life here against 15 or something, then going down to 8 from the deb.
Yeah, it's close. Like I said, it's not like it's Jordan's running away with it. I'm just saying, gun to my head, I would probably
down to 8. Sure.
Thankfully, he has that Factory lying around to plug in this Suchi mana if it ends up dying at some point.
I think if Bryan had blocked the dib with more things and killed it off earlier, I think it would have been way better ahead.
Yeah, I was definitely the play earlier.
Okay, so now then
exactly 2, not 3.
Even with one of those, I would have blocked with 2. I think.
Still do it now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I would have done that.
I mean, what are you going to do? Like, there's,
I think he's trying to draw another Aeola pile instead, turning it on. That's his plan. I think he can almost just raise the dib damage instead. In a way. Jordan's down to 7 here.
2 piles plus. What's Bryan at right now? 19.
I think 15. I'm not sure.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mind Twist you for 5.
Mind Twist. Okay. Again, arguably the most powerful card in old school. A handful of lands. Wow.
Okay.
So that's how you lose games after you draw a Time Twister and it's walk icy.
As we say, the Time Twister lottery.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, now it's sort of too late to start blocking with significant things, but he will anyway.
I mean, his back's to the wall now. He has to just hope. I mean, he could trade, a Factory and a 1/1.
Sure, I guess.
For the Suchi in theory, which puts. It's not like if he can rip a copy or a 6, he's still in okay shape.
I'm not sure I like the pre-combat Mind Twist.
Yeah, he has no tricks, right? Like
there are so few tricks. I mean, it could be like Disenchant or something, but it's probably not.
So end of your turn, I'll blow up your Factory.
You mean out of Bryan? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, very nice.
Right, but he doesn't even have like white mana, right? He literally only has blue and black mana. So.
Okay. Oh yeah. I was just.
Right, in general, so Bryan's list.
And he could play Shatter, I guess, because he has a red Mox.
Yeah.
And
that's something.
Okay,
so he's going to counterspell. You got to counterspell. Yeah.
Early pile.
6, and then I go to 5.
Oh, this is exciting.
Now, it's a real race.
Down to 5.
No blocks.
Hitting with this. There's so many things Bryan can do that are just so good for him. All of his big guys, copy artifacts.
This is absolutely appalling value, but I can't afford to take the damage. I will control.
Jordan's deck is full of 1/1s. Oh, Contramatic that guy. Really?
Your go.
I mean, Bryan's playing off the top, right? So.
Yeah. But
I still can't see life totals.
it's
Holy
strange.
shit! It's actually game. If he's at 5.
I think Jordan has to have a counterspell here. Otherwise, it would not have played the Controlmatic.
Yeah, although
It's a mana drain, but he doesn't have a factor anymore.
He needs to draw a mana sink because there's mana burn.
He's saying it right. He needs to draw something here, but like
Factory,
Brain Geyser here.
Brain Geyser, Factory,
Oh,
mana
that's it,
burn.
I guess.
You lost.
Game for that. Yeah, that was exciting.
What a
finish to that, I think.
quintessential old school way to lose that game. A game that you have well in hand, and you lose because mana drain is actually worse than counterspell. That's insane. Love it.
I was flooding, man, the whole time.
Yeah.
Crap, man.
So swingy, but what an awesome opening game for this in this tournament, right? So much back and forth. People drew their haymakers. Those control magics were so important. They
Right.
drew
I mean,
power.
I was a little bit skeptical of this starting out with this feature match because these are good players with good decks who will get far into the tournament, and we should maybe start out with something purely janky instead. But
Right.
this was I must admit that this was an amazing match to actually catch or.
It doesn't have
game
to
at
be,
least.
right? That could have just been, somebody running over the other guy, but it turned out to be extremely swingy and awesome and a great example of old school. I just
Yeah,
love
a lot of old school is
losing
very
the
much back and forth like that, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like top decking and so on because there's not much library manipulation, so you just top deck, you trade out stuff and then you top deck. But also these kind of Serendib races are very common in general.
Yeah. So Serendib is the best creature in old school, the most popular creature in old school. Somehow blue gets all the best restricted cards and counterspell and the actual best creature. It doesn't really seem quite fair, but it's everywhere. Like you said, in these Serendib races against other aggressive decks, those Serendib points do add up. And essentially, you're only really if you're in a race, it's only like you're attacking with a Grizzly, right? Because three for one is only a two damage advantage per turn, and these races happen all the time, and that Serendib point really does matter. And that's like he took 1,000,000 points off Serendib there, right? Like enough that burning for if that wasn't a Serendib, it was just something else. He doesn't lose that game,
So we're gonna see some energy flux action now post.
Yeah. So I looked at his list earlier. He has flux. Let's see what he has.
Bryan Urbano has 1 Searing Bottle, 2 Abyss, and 3 Glooms, which is kind of breaking against blue-white deck.
Yep. And so Boyle has 3 fluxes, 1 more control magic, 1 disenchant. It looks like he only plays 3 disenchants main. Wow. And I guess you need to make room for the control magic somehow. And he also has, interestingly enough, Time Twister and Balance in his sideboard.
Wow, yeah.
Rest of his
Balance
board
is coming in here, but
yeah. So I guess if you're Jordan, your 1/1s, your flying men are just gone. You're bringing in 3 fluxes, control magic, disenchant, balance. What's that? 6 cards. Flying men gone. What do you think? Maybe like a counterspell gone on the draw. I'm not sure. Maybe probably just lions. Probably just lions and stuff, right? They just get out.
Can you really cut all your 1-drops? You have to win with something.
Your flying men have to go because they die to everything. Bottle's probably coming in. But yeah, so you can maybe cut 1 lion and like 1 counter, maybe like just 1 Psy Blast or something.
I'm actually not that sure that lion is better than flying man. Sure, like flying man dies to bottle, but flying gets used by gloom as well. And also it gets blocked by everything. Like it's trumped by everything, whereas flying man can actually get in.
That's an interesting point. It's something that I clearly might not weigh heavily enough. I still think gun to my head, like if you're playing against shops, again, we know the deck lists, they don't. You have to be expecting two bottles to be in this deck at this point.
Sure, but you can counter the bottles as well as destroy them.
I guess you can.
You need to win with something. Do you mean like 4 dibs and 3 control magic or enough? Oh, he has Ceres on the board though.
He has angels on the board. He could cut all 8 of his 1s and bring in 8 cards.
That is true.
4 dibs, 2 angels, and 3 control magics to win with. It's probably enough.
I mean, sure, like your angel is weak to Icy, which might come out anyway. It's weak to Abyss and it's weak to Gloom, but aside from that, it's actually very strong in general against the shop's deck. Just a 4/4 flyer, something they're not that happy about.
Right. Did you look at? I didn't actually look at Urbano's sideboard exactly. He has the 2 abysses.
Yeah, 2 abyss, 1 bottle, and 3 glooms.
All right, so I guess you probably bring all of that stuff in, especially on the play. So he's on the draw now. I keep forgetting he somehow won that game.
So the weird thing about or like the drawback to going purely blue-black in shops is that you have no way to interact with Energy Flux at all.
Yeah. Flux is going to be insane here. I don't know what his plan is. Like, what are these discs really for?
I mean, I guess you could bring in disc here. Like,
Right,
maybe
for
that is
Flux,
just the
but
answer
that
for
seems-
Flex, but that feels so bad.
It feels real bad. So, like, what if you're playing this deck and you're playing this matchup and you know Boyle's deck really well because we've seen him play it. You're bringing in those 6 cards, 2 Abysses, 3 Glooms, 1 Bottle. You're probably cutting on the
Winter
on the
Orb,
ball.
Aeoli
Probably
Piles must be shit.
trying
But
to
I mean, it's
pile-
hard for me to say because I don't think Aeoli Pile is playable in shops anyway. So
Perfect. So
it's
those are
sort of
4
hard like that.
So that's perfect. You cut 4 unplayables. You cut Candelabra, also unplayable. That's 5. That's easy. And maybe.
And then I guess like it's so hard with Sage. Like this is one of the few matches where you would like both Sage and Abyss.
Yeah. I think you still do it, right? Because either one of those cards is great for you. And if you happen to draw them both, all right, well, them's the breaks. You only have 2 of each.
I guess.
Like as we've been said has been said about Old School a million times, it's not really much about synergy. It's more about just jamming power. And I know those cards, if you draw them both, sound terrible, but getting either one of them going against Jordan is a huge game. And I
I
think
could
it's just
say that, yeah.
maximize those.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think like maybe you keep in like 1 pile or something, but you cut 3 piles and clearly cut Candle. That's the best part of playing stuff like Candle in your deck. You have a very easy.
We're obviously jesting a little bit here because we disagree with the point here does not make it that easy in general. But also I think like in our seriousness, Aeoli Pile needs to go in that matchup. It's not made for this. It's more made for.
No, I think you were. I'm not jesting about Candle. Obviously, that card is not like. I mean, Brian likes it. It's his spice factor in his shop sex to give him a little bit of spice, but it's obviously not like if you're maximizing EV, you don't play a Candle in your shops list. I could see playing not 4 piles, but I could see playing a pile or 2, or maybe sideboarding a couple or something, just to give you like a little bit of a different angle in shops. 4 doesn't feel like the best thing to be doing to me, but either way,
I guess it's good against Hypnotic Spectre in general. If you're preparing to face a lot of mono black, because like Ritual Hypnotic is actually really good against shops.
Right.
You have to have like a very fast strike or Tetravus to ever handle that. So I guess that is one thing, and also like orders could be something. So and Pixies, I guess.
Maybe
it's sort of like a very narrow card in general.
Yeah, it does kill Pixie, right? That's oh no, it doesn't kill Pixie.
It does actually. Pixie is sort of sad. It doesn't have.
Yeah.
So
that's a big deal, actually. So killing Pixie alone probably, gives it enough. Makes it powerful enough to play one-ish, near,
sort of, I guess. Like it's a metagame card, right? If you're playing a small tournament and most people are playing either Hypnotics or Pixies, I guess a few could be okay. Sort of like that, but it's so atrocious in like the mirror or against the deck or anything.
Right. It's just there's a lot of matchups where it just doesn't do a lot. And Pixie, while being a good card and a card you see in Old School a lot, isn't like, you don't see it everywhere in Old School. It's around, but I wouldn't call it, one of the most popular cards.
I think it's sort of underplayed. I say these things a lot, but I do think actually it is sort of underplayed because it's so good against shops. It's both offensive and defensive at once, and they have to like tap it down with Icy, and you get so much ahead on mana in general. So I really like Pixies in general. Yeah. Just that, as you said earlier, that Mishra's Factor is everywhere and so important. But we have a game. We should get into that.
I'm not even sure what just happened in this game. He stripped. Did he discard? Did he discard that Icy, I guess? Was he land screwed for a turn?
No, I think Jordan mulliganed. Here we see Flux, I guess. No, he did. Okay.
I mean, Flux would have been pretty awesome there. Dib is fine.
Or is there like a removal spell beneath the strip mine in Jordan's graveyard, so he killed the Icy and then stripped the
I don't think there is. I mean, I guess
no, he stripped the library that he played. Brian played a turn 1 library, which got stripped.
The library and discarded the Icy. Okay, cool.
I couldn't tell what land was under it, so he stripped library.
Sorry, yeah.
Stripping library, actually probably the most quintessential play in all of Old School.
Which is sort of sad when the opponent also had a sit in a bottle here, which killed the surrender.
I know. I wonder if he ripped it and I guess you're never
attacking for 2 and passing without double blow up. Sort of sad. Like Jordan is behind on mana. Like, they're both mana screwed here,
Yeah, for sure.
which is very strange. Like, Bryan would, of course, love to strip the Tundra, taking Jordan off blue entirely. But then again, he has only 2 lands himself.
Factory and swing.
So, we're also like, okay.
I don't know about this. Doesn't
This,
this feel
well, I know about this, and that is,
bad, right?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, that feels maybe because Jordan plays in Europe where they don't play any Fallen Empires cards, so maybe he didn't even know what that card does. I could see
No,
that.
but you're supposed to like look it up if you don't know it or whatever.
Right. Well, I presume Jordan can read, right? He's an academic. I'm sure he can read, so maybe he.
I think I can.
Right.
I would say that.
I'm sure he's met. I wonder if he has. No, there's no actual real reason to do
No,
that,
that's
especially when you're
fine.
manuscript.
That's an island. Island is not really what Bryan wants. He wants a shop, obviously.
I mean, he clearly has some 4s in his hand though, so he's one man.
Right, like if he would draw a shop, he could strip the Tundra as well.
So what do you do here, right? Like he clearly has, a Suchi and an Icy in his hand or whatever.
Doesn't play that many ices, does he? Or
he plays 4. He plays 4 Ices.
oh, he plays the 4 ices. Okay, there was somebody else who did not do that.
Right. His deck is pretty close to stock. So what do you?
Right.
I was just gonna ask. Is there a world where you strip mine that Tundra even though you want to get to 4 mana just to turn him off?
Oh, Ancestral into Ancestral here. This is sort of exciting as well.
Again, we're seeing a lot.
I
but
think I could see a world where you actually strip the Tundra.
that
yes.
seems kind of close to me. I probably
It
wouldn't do it.
depends on how many 4-drops you have, right?
Right.
Time Walk is. This game is exciting again.
This game has
Very many
everything.
levels.
Right. Really has it all so far.
Like it has so much stuff that we're missing things to the right and to the left, and
Disenchant bottle.
disenchant the bottle, I guess. Playing a City of Brass, passing, countering the 4-drop, playing something with Counterspell mana up.
Maybe playing Sarah or Flux with Counterspell up or something. Yeah.
If he has Flux, it doesn't need the Counterspell up really. Okay.
Right, so he's going to be able to
Stripping
play
that though, playing a shop and playing a
Playing
4-drop.
shop, and maybe
what I
maybe
guess
a
we see.
Mox. Yeah. Shot Mock 6.
Oh, that would be backbreaking here. So do you think Jordan did cut all his 1-drops because we haven't seen any? Sort of makes sense.
I'm sure he cut at least 5 of them.
Yep.
I don't know
I'd
if
say
he
that.
cut them all. He doesn't have strip shot Mock 6. I guess he's trying to decide which 6 to play.
You could also play 4-drop and copy it.
Yeah, also true. That's a
Something
little
you
dangerous
really
to
want to
do
when you're facing another bottle.
Oh, man, he's going for the landy. We're seeing the power. We talked about City in a Bottle pregame, and you're seeing it, doing all of that City in a Bottle.
Did he not attacking with a factory here? Or did he play it? No, he played a shop.
Yeah, he didn't attack with factory into no untapped mana, right? Yeah.
Yeah, into 1 underground sea.
I think it might be first round of the tournament stream jitters for these guys a little bit, which I understand. Believe you me, I've punted my fair share of plays on stream, so I understand this phenomenon quite well.
Of course.
You were there.
It is easier. In one way, it's easier for us to point out small mistakes. On the other hand, it's also very, very easy for us to miss small, or like us to make the small mistakes as well, because it's very easy to sit in the chat and
we didn't even see
everything we miss.
We didn't even see what happened in the very beginning of this game, the strip of library, because we were busy doing sideboard shit, and so we obviously missed small things,
Yep.
I'm gonna play Sage, and then if it resolves.
Counter. You have to counter it.
Sage.
Okay, then pass you.
You absolutely have to counter it. Oh no, he didn't counter it.
Maybe
He
switch
just
it.
didn't have-
Back to you.
Okay, untap.
Oh God, Jordan says go. So what's in Jordan's hand that he can't cast? Is it just Sarah Angels? Yeah,
Control magics.
It's probably Control Magics and Sarah Angels, right? But how bad is Control Magic now that Sage is live?
Well, it's also a bunch of Arabian cards, I guess.
Oh yeah, also true.
Success.
Yeah, that's true. Like Control Magic against Sage is not really what you want to see. Now you're gonna see. Oh, this is a okay. Shoot you for 2, draw. Shoot you for 3 and draw a card.
I presume he's killing
I'll hit him with
Sage. No,
Apparently not.
crazy.
That's,
That seems crazy to me.
Once again, that is a punt here.
Right. Well, but
I
that's.
must say.
I mean, but he did it. He did it in round 1, right? Or he did it in game 1. So like we know that he knows that Sage is important. So I'm wondering what that means about his hand. Is there anything we can discern? I'm not sure that we can.
I can't imagine a world where you don't swords the Sage,
Right.
where the opponent has a bunch of artifacts in play.
It's just funny because I could imagine that world if you have no experience or maybe you haven't done this before. But we literally saw him do it 10 minutes ago. So
exactly when you actually know it.
Right, another trike. Okay. So this feels over.
You're up.
Oh,
yeah.
I would guess Jordan has balance in the deck now. For example,
okay,
so there's flux into a balance, and we have a game. So,
even so, like you still, or maybe he wants to swords the big guy so that to force him to commit because Sage doesn't provide any kind of real clock, so he can just maybe force him to get a couple more cards out of his balance. It must be that, yeah.
I mean, it could be something.
How many cards do you got?
Although, what is this? Flux.
Control magic on Sage.
Desperate time twister.
Control magic on Sage, I bet. Yeah.
Control magic Sage.
Now, if the swords were gone, I guess you can't control magic the trike anyway, but you at least kill it.
I agree.
No, good point. I'm gonna take my.
How good is control magic against shops in general? What do you think?
So I played a lot of control. I actually lost in the last round of the last tournament Dave ran. I forgot what he called it. The Havenwood. Playing that control magic rook egg deck, and I lost because my shop's opponent just kept drawing trikes and not drawing Tetravises and Suchis, and so all my control magics were just kill spells where I took 2 damage as opposed to actual backbreakers. And that's what happens. If they draw Triskelions and not the other guys, control magic is pretty freaking medium.
Yeah, like it's not really what you want out of a sideboard card in general. Sure, you don't have it for this matchup in total, but it's nothing nuts.
I figured that. I figure it's a.
Let's see. I feel like I should be checking
Copy artifact.
this.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like we're nearing the end of time in the round, but they started late, so we're going to give them a few extra minutes. Problem's going to be they're going to have no time for a game 3, so this is probably going to go to flips if it doesn't make it. But it does seem like Bryan.
Yeah, I think Bryan is ahead, significantly ahead here. Sure, like anything can happen, but.
Right, it is old school after all, but so step 1 to all of these plans is resolve ancestral, and they've already both resolved their ancestral, so they can't rip another one.
Like time twister into time walk, as Bryan had in the last game.
Right, exactly.
That's always what you want to do, right?
Time twister into time walk plus mind twist is probably the play that everyone is most scared of in old school, and it defines a surprising number of matches.
Counter.
Okay, counterspell on the IC, but there are still 2 tricks in play.
How do you feel about the way that Jordan casts his counterspells? He just kind of flips it over in his hand like that? I'm not sure.
I guess, do you think it's a stream thing or a cam thing at least? Just do it.
Right.
I mean, you might want to do it a little bit differently.
It's fine, everybody. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to that. I don't see a lot of people do it that way. I'm just curious what your thoughts were. If it's
I wouldn't do it myself, no. Like everybody has different kind of styles. Okay, we'll see a factory activation into an AOE pile into trikes here, but that is.
This is the power of trike, right? And he has a freaking pile, so there's just so many.
This is mostly to draw a card from the Sage, get some Sage value in.
Right, he can get his own Sage value. So he piles, pumps. I guess one ping, whatever, trade a trike counter for a card for Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
He's still drawing live to balance at this point because I'm assuming he double blocked and this Sage is going to die, so he'll have very little board after this.
Think so? He double blocked?
I think so. Maybe not. I mean, I guess what do you gain from double blocking? Okay, he did double block. He's probably just playing to balance because he knows it's the only way he can win.
I guess. That's true.
And it's your go.
Okay.
As we've said, Jordan is a very good player with a bunch of a bunch of wins and a bunch of top finishes. So he knows how to play to his outs. And I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm totally, oh, look at that. That's the third time we've called him. It's almost like we've done this before, right, Svante?
Exciting.
Yep, puts me at
So Jordan's down to
7?
3 life. Okay, that's not maybe.
We're down to 3. He's Herkulesing himself. Counterspell.
Okay, that means Jordan must have a bunch of cards in hand then.
So does Bryan, though. It looks like Bryan has a full grip over there, right?
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you have to.
This is still not a great place to be. He has infinity mana, and he's untapping now. Still has that bottle that Jordan.
Another land. Sure.
Oh,
Winter
God.
Orb.
I guess he didn't sideboard out the Winter Orb.
That's true.
All right, he still has Counterspell up here. Okay. Not over yet.
Well, I think Winter Orb is pretty good against Jordan's post-board game or post-board configuration.
If he can land a Flux, it's not so great. That's what he really needs now is a Flux.
Yeah.
Although, if you had a Flux, I guess that Bryan literally can't kill Flux, right? If it resolves, it's there forever. So.
Should be like that.
Wow, so he brought in discs. I know Bryan has played some disc shop decks in the past with main deck disc. I'm kind of curious what his thought process here with all this, because he has to bring in Abyss, right? You think maybe he just doesn't bring in Gloom. Maybe he skips Gloom.
It looks like it, right?
If you're not bringing in Gloom,
you can't do everything, right?
If you're not bringing in Gloom versus Swords, Lions, Disenchants, and Sarahs, presumably Sarahs, then what is Gloom for, right?
Well, it's for the deck, and you probably don't want the discs against the deck because there's way less permanents to worry about because there's no fluxes. I guess that must be the thing, but yeah, I hear you.
No, but there's some truth to that, right?
Okay, so this is game.
File. That's it. All right, so File proving its power. So he sideboarded. He played 2 piles. So and he played Winter Orb and he played Disc. So we pegged his sideboarding all completely wrong, right? That's funny. Again, it shows like he obviously knows his deck better than us. He has a plan for these cards.
For sure, yeah.
I have very little experience playing Disc in a shop style or playing shops, period, let alone playing Disc out of my board. So
I mean, I have 0, so.
I don't think we have much time to talk to them. Let me see if we.
No, I think so too. Like we're on time or thereabouts right now.
So
pretty sure.
I'm gonna ask if we can chat with them at all. I'm just curious to see. I'm gonna close this down.
Yeah, so I just put Glooms, Nev's Disc, Herkles.
Okay, yeah, nice. So is that all in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, there's one more. So
But yeah, it shouldn't be a problem just asking them a few questions while they board up and
We
stuff.
can just do it right now. I'll just tell them. What should I do, Simon? What's the best way to accomplish this?
In the room, you just
mute them, I guess, but I'm probably.
Yeah.
I might not hear it, but yeah, whatever. You sort this out, I guess.
Okay.
Have them unmute. Okay, I'll just have them unmute. Hey guys, do you want to? Oh, actually, hold on. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, it's
Unmute. All right, Simon, can you guys hear me?
we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Simon, is this okay or is there any echoing? Or are we okay?
it's okay.
So guys, awesome match. A tough one for you, Jordan. It seemed like he had all the answers a bunch of times.
It really did.
I'm curious, although that first game was so swingy, I thought we could smell that control magic and called it because we looked at your deck list and I'm like, he almost certainly has one. And then you played it. We thought maybe you would have the game from there. But that time twister when Bryan was out of gas was just too much for you.
I mean, the twister I could live with, but the fact that he pulled the time walk off the twister was, I think, because otherwise he wouldn't have the chance to part out the Tetravis, in which case I could have control magic it rather than
Exactly.
just a
And it just gave him a turn to untap and like you're fully tapped out. He can do whatever he wants, unabashed by your counters and removal and whatnot. Bryan, what's your? So we tried to guess what you were going to do sideboard wise. and we figured we were completely wrong. Obviously, we figured you're bringing in abysses and the second bottle and probably glooms, and you're cutting candelabra and piles and maybe shaving, whatever, one random card somewhere. It looks like you didn't do that at all. You clearly brought in discs, right? You obviously brought in the second bottle, but what about discs? Like, so what's your plan? Did you bring in abyss? Did you bring in disc? What did you cut? I'm curious because we punted that whole sideboard guess.
No worries. Abyss is one of those cards nowadays. I'm just kind of like, I don't even know why it's in my sideboard. Because I like to bring in other stuff, but against Jordan's deck, I saw his white splash, so I want to give him a little hard time with the bloom.
Quick interjection. Jordan has played this deck at this point a number of times. Were you familiar? Like when you knew you were playing Jordan and he led Tundra into Flying Man, did you know what he was on?
I was thinking he was probably on Unstable Mutations.
Oh wow! So you didn't know what he was on?
Guys here in the US, they play, kind of like the blue aggro.
Yeah.
For Gurks and Unstable Mutation. So maybe I put him on that first. That's why I wanted to Alio pile the Flying Man because I die like turn 4 to a berserk something that's flying.
That is so funny. Sometimes I take for granted how plugged in I am to all the different communities because, as soon as he led Underground Sea Flying Man, I probably could have named 58 out of the cards in his deck. But you really had no idea, and you were playing around all sorts of things that, clearly were nowhere near his 60 or near his 75. That's such a unique, it's very different than modern Magic, right? Where you see somebody plays Sulfur Falls and their entire deck, right?
Yeah, so what's funny is Jordan and I, we met at Chalice, and we always play in the side events. So I don't think we ever really see each other's full-powered decks.
Yeah,
he was on mono green. He kicked my butt during your event, the LobstercoM event.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and then we played in the singleton match at Chalice, and that was epic. But I don't know. I don't play. I haven't played Jordan much in the regular tournaments.
Yeah, so
you would the wacky ones.
You would think that
the real ones, right, or whatever. I don't know.
It didn't seem to matter that you didn't know his deck because your deck was firing pretty hard there on all cylinders. So last question before we let you go: what did you sideboard though? Getting back to that, I'm curious. So you brought in discs and Abyss you didn't bring in. It's funny because I think Abyss is extremely underplayed and one of the main reasons to play shops. Period. Meanwhile, you don't even like it that much and are considering cutting it from your 75.
Well, but he is playing Sages, which is uncommon in shops and would die to the Abyss. So that's
I've grown to love the Sage. I think
they're good.
The job, man. I mean, it's I got him that one time where he dumped the Suchi mana into the factory and then end the turn I'll blow up the factory, right? And that's huge. I was trying to get him to do that, but I saw the white splash. I brought in the glooms. Disc is just there. If I play disc, I don't got to use it, but it's a psychological thing, right?
Yeah,
You see it and you're like, oh crap, what do I do with it? Do I disenchant it? Sure.
Wait, are those Hercules? Did those Hercules come in? Is that what those are there for?
Yeah, Hercules came in. Yeah.
I must be taking crazy pills. So do you bring that to reload your own trikes and a bounce disc with an activation or something? Is that the plan?
Yeah. It does a lot of stuff. I mean, mirror match shops, or I can bounce his artifacts. I can reload my trikes if I want to, or I can Hercules disc combo, whatever.
Wow.
Or I can fill up my hand again, get on library again. That's always fun. So a lot of uses for it.
Well, you clearly leveled me and Svante because we could not have been more off on your sideboarding. Let me tell you. And it worked out, and obviously it worked out well for you. That Hercules there was actually really sweet. We did not expect the very end there. We did not expect to see that, but it was pretty much how you drew it up. Bounce 2 trikes, in response to a balance. Basically perfect.
Very much wanted countering, but
sadly
without other answers.
Right, you absolutely had to counter that, of course. And by then you were at 3, and and in a regular shop stack, it's tough being at 3 with the trikes. But he has piles and other things, and it's just you were a huge dog at that point. I think you did a good job. Did you have balance? You have balance.
Did the City of Brass in my hand for ages.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you have to balance. And you don't even get to balance away all those garbage cards because they're sitting in your hand. So he gets to keep his full grip. The worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
Did you have balance the whole time, or were you playing to your outs, hoping to draw balance?
Top deck did on that turn.
It felt like you basically knew that your only way to even have half a chance was to draw balance, and so you were setting up your board for that.
I was for, I mean, one of the fluxes a little bit earlier would have been very nice.
Oh, of course. But at that point, the ship had sailed, and you were like, you pretty much had the one chance, and that was balance. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, awesome match. Very good players playing decks they're known for, playing them well, seeing a lot of awesome traditional old school plays, Time Twister to Time Walk, Ancestral Battles, Shops versus Savannah Lion. A great way to open this tournament. Congrats on the win, Bryan and Jordan. You're not down and out yet. I've seen you run off 6 in a row before. Exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, good luck going forward, and maybe we'll check back in later. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. See you, man. And Bryan, thanks for the match, man. And good luck for the rest of them. Maybe I'll see you in the
brother. Yeah, absolutely. Take care, Jordan. Thanks, Mono. Thanks, Svante.
Take care, guys.